Ever wonder why so many seniors have health episodes right after flying? It's not just bad luck. Airports are hiding 5 deadly dangers specifically targeting travelers over 60. And at the end, I'll reveal the one that's quietly killing thousands every year. Let's go. Danger 1. The oxygen thief. Picture this. You're 65, boarding your dream vacation flight. You've saved for years for this trip. You settle into your seat thinking the hard part's over. Wrong. The moment that plane hits 35,000 feet, your body's being starved of oxygen. And if you're over 60, this isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Here's what they don't tell you. The cabin isn't pressurized to ground level. Everyone thinks it is, but it's not. It's maintained at 8,000 feet above sea level. That's mountain altitude while you're sitting in a chair, eating peanuts. Harvard researchers discovered something that should terrify every senior traveler. Close to 70% of people over 60 have some sort of cardiovascular disease. Put them at 8,000 feet cabin pressure, their hearts go into complete overdrive. The study results were absolutely shocking. During flight, older passengers experience moderate hypoxia. That's a fancy word for oxygen starvation. Your heart rate spikes, heart rate variability drops. Both are clear indicators of serious cardiac stress. But here's the killer part. We don't know what a person's risk is during the 72 hours following the stress of air travel. That chest pain you feel 2 days after landing? That might not be jet lag. Could be your cardiovascular system still recovering from oxygen starvation. Think about what's happening inside your body. You're at 35,000 feet. The air pressure is equivalent to standing on top of a mountain. Your already aging heart is pumping harder, trying to get oxygen-depleted blood to your brain and organs. And here's what makes it worse. By the time people get inside the airplane, they're already stressed. You've gone through TSA checkpoints. You've walked long distances to the gate. You might not have had enough sleep or hydration. Your heart's already pumping hard before you even take off. The plane's ascent to cruising level happens fast, about 15 minutes. Your cardiovascular system gets hit with massive changes in a very short time. For a 70-year-old with existing heart problems, this could be the perfect storm for disaster. German research found something even more terrifying. There's an association between flying and increased risk of heart attack up to 72 hours after the flight. People go home and have health issues, but they don't associate it with flight-related stress. What to do? If you have any cardiovascular condition, get medical clearance before flying. Request supplemental oxygen from your airline. They provide it, but you have to ask in advance. Don't wait until you're gasping for air at 35,000 feet. Monitor your symptoms for 3 full days after landing. Danger 2. The dehydration death trap. You just cleared security. You're hot, tired, and thirsty. You spot a water fountain and think, free hydration. Hold up. That fountain could be nastier than a gas station bathroom. But that's not even the real problem. The real problem is what happens once you're on that plane. Airplane cabins are drier than the Sahara Desert. Literally, the humidity drops to just 20%. That's about as dry as a desert. Why? Because about 50% of the air circulating in the cabin is pulled from outside, and at high altitudes, that air is almost completely devoid of moisture. Here's the deadly part for seniors. Your body's thirst mechanism is already broken by age. Many people age 65 and older don't drink enough water even under normal conditions. In a flying desert, it becomes life-threatening. The medical research is absolutely terrifying. Adults who lose more than 2% of body weight from dehydration suffer destroyed cognitive performance. We're talking memory loss, attention problems, inability to do basic math. For seniors, even a 1% loss causes serious brain problems. And here's the kicker. Dehydration is already a leading cause of hospitalization for people over 65. Airports and airplanes create the perfect storm for this to happen. Studies show that dehydration literally shrinks your brain. The blood vessels in your brain constrict due to dwindling fluid levels. That confusion you feel after a long flight? That wasn't jet lag. That was your brain actually dying from thirst. But it gets worse. Dehydration affects you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physical signs include fatigue, weakness, dizziness, dry mouth, muscle cramps. But the mental effects are even scarier. Confusion, disorientation, inability to think clearly. For seniors, this is particularly dangerous because symptoms often go unrecognized. They get attributed to other medical conditions, medications, or natural effects of aging. So you're getting severely dehydrated, and nobody, including you, realizes what's happening. Research shows that older adults are at particular risk because of age-related decreases in sensitivity to thirst. Your kidneys become less able to conserve body water. Medications affect body hydration. And psychological factors like fear of incontinence make seniors drink even less. The airplane environment makes all of this exponentially worse. You're breathing bone-dry air for hours. You're probably avoiding drinks because airplane bathrooms are tiny and inconvenient. Meanwhile, your body is losing moisture through your skin and lungs at an accelerated rate. What to do? Start aggressive hydration 24 hours before your flight. Bring an empty reusable bottle through security and fill it immediately. Drink 8 ounces every single hour during the flight, even if you're not thirsty. Skip alcohol and caffeine completely. They act as diuretics and make dehydration worse. If you're on a long flight, consider electrolyte supplements. Danger 3. The medication minefield. You take the same blood pressure pills you've taken for years. You trust them. They've kept you healthy and stable. At 35,000 feet, they could kill you. Here's what nobody tells you. Altitude and cabin pressure changes completely alter how medications work in your body. Some medications lower breathing rates in an already low oxygen environment. Others cause sedation that puts you at risk for blood clots. Your daily pills literally become weapons against your own body. Harvard researchers found that medications plus altitude equal potential disaster. Some blood pressure medications hit differently at altitude. Sedatives become dangerously powerful. Even over-the-counter drugs can cause unexpected problems. Think about this. As we age, physical changes affect how our bodies handle medications. Your liver and kidneys don't work like they did when you were 40. They process drugs more slowly. Add altitude, pressure changes, and dehydration, you're looking at a complete pharmaceutical nightmare. Here's a specific example that could save your life. Medications that cause sedation are particularly dangerous during flights. They reduce your chance of moving around, which dramatically increases your risk for deep vein thrombosis, blood clots that can travel to your lungs and kill you. Pain medications, sleep aids, anti-anxiety drugs, anything that makes you drowsy becomes a clot-forming time bomb at altitude. You sit motionless for hours, blood pools in your legs, and clots form. One of those clots breaks loose and travels to your heart or lungs, game over. But here's what makes this even more dangerous. Jet lag messes up medication schedules, which causes confusion and additional health risks. You're crossing time zones, your internal clock is scrambled, and you can't remember if you took your morning pills or not. The worst part? Flight crews aren't medically trained and aren't required to help with medication issues. Airlines explicitly state that they cannot focus only on elderly passengers and must meet the needs of a plane full of people. If your medications cause problems at 35,000 feet, you're completely on your own. Some medications can cause dangerous interactions with the low oxygen environment. Blood thinners work differently. Diabetes medications can cause problems if you're not eating on schedule. Heart medications may not be as effective in low-pressure environments. What to do? Schedule a consultation with your doctor 3 weeks before flying specifically to discuss altitude effects on every single medication you take. Bring all medications in carry-on luggage with clear, updated labels. Set multiple phone alarms to maintain your medication schedule across time zones. Bring a detailed medication list with dosages, times, and emergency contact information. Consider wearing a medical alert bracelet if you take critical medications. Danger 4. The falling epidemic. Here's a number that should make every senior traveler think twice. 41,400 older adults died from preventable falls in 2023 alone. The fall death rate has increased by 53% over the past decade. Airports are literally designed to make you fall. Picture this, you're dragging heavy luggage across polished marble floors. The surface is slippery from thousands of travelers. There are sudden level changes, moving walkways, and crowded corridors. You're already exhausted, dehydrated, and disoriented. You're basically walking through a fall factory. Here's what makes airport falls so particularly deadly. You're not falling on your living room carpet. You're hitting hard concrete or marble, often while carrying heavy bags surrounded by rushing crowds who might not even notice you've fallen. The statistics are absolutely brutal. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death among adults 65 and older. Over 14 million seniors report falling every year. About 37% of those who fall suffer injuries requiring medical treatment. But here's the really scary part. 20 to 30% of older people who fall suffer moderate to severe injuries like hip fractures, head trauma, or brain bleeding. And once you fall, falling once doubles your chances of falling again. That dream vacation could become the beginning of a deadly downward spiral. Airport environments are particularly dangerous because they combine multiple fall risk factors: wet or polished floors from cleaning and weather, sudden elevation changes from ramps and stairs, poor lighting in some terminal areas, crowds that can knock you off balance, heavy luggage that throws off your center of gravity. Research shows that busy airports and tight spaces while getting on airplanes create significant fall risks for seniors. You're navigating crowded terminals with rolling bags, trying to keep up with departure schedules, often rushing to make connections. Add to this the fact that air travel itself makes you more fall-prone. You're dehydrated, which affects balance. You're tired from the stress of travel. You might be taking medications that cause dizziness or drowsiness. Your blood pressure could be fluctuating from altitude changes. And here's something most people don't consider. The simple act of sitting for hours on a plane makes your muscles stiff and weak when you finally stand up. Your legs feel wobbly. Your balance is off. You're more likely to stumble or lose your footing. The financial costs are staggering too. The average health system cost per fall injury for people 65 and older ranges from over $1,000 to more than $3,600. But that's just the immediate cost. Long-term disability, rehabilitation, and loss of independence can cost hundreds of thousands. What to do? Wear sturdy, closed-toe shoes with good grip. Never sandals, heels, or smooth-soled shoes. Use wheeled luggage and keep it directly in front of you. Why? Never trailing behind where it can trip you. Request wheelchair assistance even if you normally don't need it. There's absolutely no shame in staying safe. Allow extra time for everything so you're never rushing. Use handrails whenever available. Stay hydrated to maintain good balance. Danger 5. The cardiovascular time bomb. Now we come to the most dangerous airport secret of all. The one that's literally stopping hearts in terminals and airplane cabins worldwide. More and more people are traveling when they retire, and close to 70% of people over age 60 have some sort of cardiovascular disease. Combine that with the perfect storm of airport and flight stress, you have a recipe for cardiac disaster. Here's exactly what happens to your cardiovascular system the moment you enter an airport. Your stress levels spike from long lines, security procedures, and fear of missing flights. You're walking long distances through terminals while carrying or dragging luggage. You might be sleep deprived from early departure times. By the time you board the plane, your heart is already working overtime. Then comes the killer blow. The plane rockets to 35,000 feet in about 15 minutes. Your already stressed cardiovascular system gets hit with massive pressure changes and oxygen deprivation. Harvard's research findings were absolutely terrifying. Flying poses much more cardiovascular risk than previously understood. Even with cabin pressurization at 7,000 feet, which is lower than the typical 8,000 feet, heart rates went up and heart rate variability went down in older passengers. Both are clear indicators of serious cardiac stress. But here's the most shocking discovery. While heart attacks during flights are still relatively rare, the real danger lurks in the 72 hours following air travel. German researchers found a clear association between flying and increased risk of heart attack for up to 3 days after landing. Think about the implications of this. That heart attack you have 2 days after returning from vacation? It might not be a coincidence. It could be the delayed result of cardiovascular stress from flying that your senior body simply couldn't handle. The mechanism is actually quite simple and terrifying. Air travel creates a perfect storm of cardiac stress factors. Physical stress from carrying luggage and walking long distances. Emotional stress from crowds, delays, and schedule pressure. Physiological stress from altitude, pressure changes, and oxygen deprivation. Your aging cardiovascular system tries to cope with all of this at once. During the flight, it might manage to keep up, but in the days following, when you think you're safe and relaxed, your overstressed heart finally gives out. Research shows that people often go home after flights and have health issues, but they don't necessarily associate it with flight-related stress. That chest pain, shortness of breath, or unusual fatigue 3 days after landing, most people attribute it to jet lag or vacation exhaustion. Airlines know about these risks, which is why some are starting to make changes. Qantas, for example, is designing ultra-long flights with cabin pressure equivalent to 6,000 feet instead of 8,000 feet. They're also looking at lighting that accounts for circadian rhythms and ways to mitigate noise exposure. But most airlines aren't making these changes yet. You're still flying in conditions that were designed based on research from the World War II era, when most passengers were healthy young male fighter pilots. The 8,000-foot pressure standard was set just below the 10,000-foot level, where cognitive changes from oxygen deprivation became obvious. What to do? Get comprehensive medical clearance before flying if you have any cardiovascular disease. Wear compression stockings to help circulation and prevent blood clots. Avoid alcohol and caffeine before and during flights. They add physiological stress. Get up and walk around the cabin every hour during flight. Most importantly, monitor your symptoms carefully for 72 hours after landing. Any chest pain, shortness of breath, unusual fatigue, or other cardiac symptoms should be treated as a medical emergency. Bonus danger: the immunity collapse. One more secret I promised. The hidden killer even doctors miss. You're 10 times more likely to get sick flying. For seniors, it's far worse. Your immune system is already compromised by age. You're trapped in a metal tube with hundreds of strangers, breathing recycled air, touching surfaces covered in germs. A minor cold for a 30-year-old could trigger pneumonia in a 70-year-old, could mean hospitalization. The combination of dehydration, stress, oxygen loss, and germ exposure creates immunity collapse. Your defenses shut down completely. Tray tables are dirtier than toilet buttons. People change diapers on them. They get a quick wipe between flights, nothing more. What to do? Get vaccinated. Bring disinfectant wipes. Clean every surface. Wear a mask in crowds. Boost immunity 2 weeks before travel. Conclusion. So there you have it. 5 hidden airport dangers that could kill seniors over 60. Oxygen starvation stressing your heart. Dehydration shrinking your brain. Medication interactions stopping your heart. Fall risks shattering bones, cardiovascular time bombs that could kill you days later. But here's the truth. Knowledge is power. Now you know these dangers exist. You can protect yourself. You can demand medical clearance. You can request assistance. You can travel smart. The travel industry doesn't want you knowing this. It might make you think twice about flying, but you deserve the truth. Don't let anyone say these risks are just aging. They're not. They're preventable dangers you can avoid with knowledge. Share this with every traveler over 60 you know. The person you save might be someone you love. What shocked you most? Drop it in the comments. Want more travel secrets the industry hides from seniors? Subscribe, because we're just getting started. Travel smart, travel safe, never stop exploring. But keep your eyes open to risks others won't tell you about.